Yeah, well, first off, we've been trying to get the guys to get their head around what we got to do defensively, and how we got to approach defense and how we got to evaluate ourselves possession after possession defensively. And I thought the intent to guard to start tonight was there, and that's the first step. Is you got to have the intent. Is it consistent enough yet? No. Are there lulls like that last 4 or 5 minutes of the first half? I was disappointed. There were some stretches in the second half. You just want to get back and get your defense set or not take a break. But I think they're starting to wrap their heads around how we have to approach it, the identity that we have to have on the defensive end. You look down and you take 4 or 5 charges, and that's always a really good sign. Guys willing to rotate for each other and put their body on the ball. And I thought there were a couple of times we tried to take charges. We were just in the restricted area. So many more times we put our body in front of the ball. So again, that's the part of the night that I was pleased with. Even though I wasn't pleased with every play, I was pleased with the intent to want to start defending and rebounding. I mean, you look down and you're 56-41 on the board. You always like to see that. I wouldn't like to give up 12 offensive rebounds, but you're doing a good job on the board. And you look down and Bryant shoots, who's a good offensive team, shoots 29% from the field. And so, again, those are some of the things that you're happy about. I thought Dave DeJulius, listen, losing Rob Hennessy, that stinks. And I thought he was starting to kind of find his way offensively. We've made some offensive adjustments to what we were doing, and I thought he was a guy that was going to really benefit from those, and he looked comfortable, I thought, offensively for the first time in our last game. But this is life and this is basketball. And so as down as I am for Rob, and as tough as that, can be big picture for the team, I think collectively you can overcome it if each guy kind of gives a little more. It's the same thing with John and Rob. And I think it's giving guys opportunities to kind of step into bigger roles. And, you look down tonight and Dan Skilling's, 14 points and 13 rebounds. Pretty dang good there for a freshman, guys. And Josh Reed, you look down and he's got 10 points and 9 rebounds. It's pretty damn good for a freshman, guys. And so those guys are getting even more opportunity now, and they're starting to make the most of it, and everybody can see their ability. The quicker we can bring them along, the better our team's going to be. So there's some things there I was pleased with. The other thing is David DeJulius playing the point guard position. I thought he looked incredibly comfortable tonight, and we haven't played him there much in the year that I've been here. He looked a lot more comfortable, made great decisions with the ball for the most part, and I think that's important because he's going to have to play. Him and Shuey are going to have to split some point guard minutes. Finally, hopefully I can answer every question before you guys ask it, but CJ, Anthony now kind of comes into a role where he might have to play some significant minutes here and there. It was good to get him some time, and it was good to get Sage out there. I've wanted some help in the front court. Sage is 7 feet. He's working hard every day. He plays hard. Getting out there, getting his feet wet. I think he can help us as the year goes on. He's going to improve the more opportunity that he gets.
Defensively with Dan and Josh, I know it looked like there were a couple of miscues, but for the most part, it feels like those two are starting to feel a little bit more comfortable on that end of the floor, maybe?
Yeah, they probably think I'm the devil the way that I'm coaching them because I'm all over them, all 3 of the freshmen, but specifically Daniel and Josh, they probably think I'm the devil. It's actually the opposite. Like I really believe in their ability, and I know that for them to be more effective within our team, they just need to get up to speed defensively. They're just freshmen. There's nothing wrong with that, but I want to get them there quickly because I do think they can play significant roles on this team moving forward. And so there's a great sense of urgency on my part, and I'm trying to get them to understand it's the opposite of I'm trying to be hard on you, I'm trying to help you, because as everybody here knows, we've got a big game coming next Saturday. The league games are coming, and now those defensive errors can cost you possessions, and most of these big-time games come down to 2 or 3 possessions, so I'm trying to get them up to speed.
You guys have struggled against zone at times. You seem to, that soft spot flash into the high post seemed to really work well for you today, though.
Yeah, it was interesting. We have a ton of zone actions we put in, and I like them, and the guys look comfortable executing them. But tonight, we didn't have to. I mean, honestly, we were better when we didn't call anything. I thought we were better when we just played, attacked, and our zone freelance or zone flow, and the guys were able to find the soft spot and make some good decisions with the ball.
Dan talked about the closeness of this freshman group, those three guys. What have you seen from those three guys, and what did you see today? Just our first time being able to see all those three guys on the court together.
Well, they're all really gifted, and they all have a ton of talent and gifts, and the combination of size, skill, length, athleticism, that was important when we recruited that class. The part that probably doesn't get talked about enough is the kind of people they are. I mean, we got great young men in our locker room. Sometimes you call them kids, guys. David DeJulius isn't a kid, okay? He's no kid. He's older than I am. It feels like sometimes. And Nick Lockett, those guys aren't kids, but we have great young men in our locker room. Those three freshmen are not only high character young men with strong values, but they're also really kind, and they're really friendly, and they're really social. And I think that's cool. They've really created bonds with each other, and they've created bonds within the team and even with the campus community. And I think as they're here longer, they're going to create bonds with the Cincinnati community because they like to be around people and they like to engage people. And that's pretty neat. They're not just good guys. They're the kind of guys that are fun in the environment they're in and embrace the environment and the people in that environment. And so that's added to our program in a lot of ways.
Coach, how valuable is this week stretch, almost roughly a week stretch now that you get to practice without games before your biggest home test of the season thus far against Xavier?
How comfortable?
How important is it being able to just only focus on practice, not having a game plan for a different team ahead of a huge matchup against a team like Xavier at home?
You guys know this about me by now. I just love any chance to practice. I don't try to put that in perspective more than every time you get a chance to practice, you get a chance to get better as a team and work on the things that you value. And every time we get a chance to do that, I want to embrace it. But how important it is or isn't, it's always important when you get a chance to practice regardless of who's coming up.
I know we've talked a ton about Vic, but is this what you saw potentially coming from him, where as that confidence grows, every minute on the floor, it looks like he's getting more comfortable and, becoming a much better player?
Yeah, his ability. We saw it the first week we were here, and we got the guys together in practice, not in workouts, but practice, because he actually wasn't cleared when we started doing workouts. Whatever the first time, not this summer, but the summer before, that we got a chance to practice and he got cleared. We went through about 2 or 3 practices, and we're sitting up there in the office, and I'll never forget, Chad Dollar comes in smiling. Vic, he's good. I said, yeah, you see it too, don't you? Yeah, I see it too, You could just see his ability and some of his natural gifts as a player. And he hated this last year, but I just kept saying last year, guys, he's a freshman, and he's going through freshman stuff. He's just learning how to play college basketball, and he's going through the transition into playing basketball in America. When you're a European player, it's a transition just like it is the other way, going from here to there. So we felt like he could evolve. And by the way, I think he's not even close to getting to his ceiling. He's just kind of scratching the surface. But it's been neat to see his improvement, and most of the credit is due to him because he's really worked on his game and his body.
You mentioned those opportunities. Jared Hensley tonight played 20 minutes, had 10 points, finished with 3 or 4 fast break dunks out in transition. We've seen his confidence go up more and more this season. Just talk about his performance today and what you've seen from him late.
Yeah, he's really important to our team in the sense that his role's really important. Jared's a guy that we're asking to do the little things, to be physical, to guard multiple positions, to rebound, to make the simple play, to sacrifice maybe trying to make some plays, to be a guy that moves the ball. And he's really embraced that role, and you have to have guys on your team that embrace those roles, and Jared's done that. You can see the ability when he gets out in the open floor, and you can see the explosiveness we want him to play with that explosiveness even more, but within his role. And again, there's just a lot of value in having somebody that's willing to do the selfless team first type stuff that maybe doesn't get you a bunch of attention, you know. And John Newman's done that, did that for us last year, and you need more guys to do that. And Jared seems to be willing to step into that role.
2 more questions?
I think Dan had 7 rebounds, or that was Wednesday. Obviously 13 tonight. Is that something that you tell him, like, I know you're going to need him with John out, but hey, you're going to stay on the floor if you grab rebounds?
Yeah, and I mean, you know, I don't know how well documented this is or how well it's been talked about. It's the first thing I noticed when I recruited. I mean, the first thing I noticed when I went to watch him was, I mean, he went and got like 3 big rebounds, and I went, who is that? Oh, we got to recruit him. And then he can shoot too, and oh man, he's got the ability and instincts. But like the first thing was how he went and got the ball, and I joke with him every day, go get 10. You know, can you go get 10? Because rebounding is the one area where it's okay to be selfish. It's the only area in basketball where I think it's okay to be selfish is the board. You can go get as many of those as you want, and that's good for the team. And so, you know, you look down tonight, and you knew he was going to have a night like that just because he has a knack for it and he has energy for it. But 13's pretty dang good, guys.
Coach, is there any different message to the team throughout this week going into the crosstown shootout, or do you kind of try to treat every single one of these games with a similar type of, not trying to make it too big of an event for the entire team?
Yeah, I mean, we just finished the Bryant game, so I hadn't had a chance to really process how we're going to handle this week leading up to the Xavier game. I will say our guys understand. Like, you know, we got a bunch of returning guys. We have guys that have played at Xavier last year. We have guys that hear it around campus and around the community every day. It doesn't take long being in Cincinnati to learn about that, guys. It took me about 10 hours. You know, oh, this is pretty serious stuff. So our guys understand how big of a game it is to this community. They don't need a message from me. They'll be ready to work and ready to compete and ready to prepare. Just like I'm sure Xavier will be as well. But we're going to approach it as business as usual. Try to get better in practice tomorrow, and try to get better in practice on Tuesday, and take Wednesday off, and do it again on Thursday, do it again on Friday, and prepare to play a big-time game in here against a really good basketball team.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Thanks, Wes.
Thanks, guys.